All right, the president at Joint Base Andrews here, Air Force One, a familiar sight here. He's going to be taking off for Wisconsin later today. His push will be on hiring more American workers and keeping those jobs here. With us right now is the AOL Co-Founder Steve Case on Buy American and Hire American Message. Of course, his book gets out in paperback right now, The Third Wave, where he gets into sort of these big macro issues and a lot of details how to implement them. Steve, very good to see you.
Always good to be with you.
What do you think of the president's goal, first off? Hire American, keep American. This he's coupling with a crackdown on H-1B visas, particularly on the lower end. I know many in your technology community get nervous about that. What do you think?
Well, the goal of buying American, hiring American, of course, is the right thing. And we should be enforcing our laws and take a fresh look at things like H-1B. So I'm fine with that. At the same time, I think we need to continue to invent in America. And part of the theme of the third wave is how do we win in this next wave and create the right kind of environment for entrepreneurs all across the country, not just in places like Silicon Valley. Immigration is a tough issue, as we've talked about it in the past. It's a complex issue. Looking freshly at these rules and figure out what to do, it makes sense. Same time, we need to remember that part of what's made America great is being a magnet of talent from all around the world. Some of our great companies have immigrant roots. The founder of Apple was a son of a Syrian refugee. The founder of Google was the son of a Russian immigrant. So we want to welcome those people who can create the companies that can create the jobs here, while obviously educating our kids to be successful in the third wave.
But you know what the president is going to say, among other things, later today is that some technology companies, not yours, of course, in the old days, but have taken advantage of this to just get cheap labor. That the push for Indian workers, for example, is built not so much on their brains, which are ample and considerable, but the fact that they're cheaper than American workers. What do you say?
I'm sure there's some of that, and as a result, I think he's going to call for a review of the H-1B process. I think that makes sense to review it, make sure there's not abuses. At the same time, the part I care most about is actually not H-1B, but what's the idea of a startup visa? How do you make sure the people who are going to actually be creating the companies and creating the jobs are able to stay here? We bring people here, give them these great educations, give them PhDs, and then kick them out, and they end up going elsewhere to create jobs elsewhere. We want those jobs in this country, and again, not just on the coast. Part of the reason I wrote the book was to celebrate entrepreneurs all across the country, what I call in the book Rise of the Rest. How do you support the entrepreneurs in Detroit and Pittsburgh and Des Moines and Nashville and New Orleans and Phoenix, not just in San Francisco and New York and Massachusetts? And how do you get more capital flowing? And last year, 78% of venture capital went to 3 states. California alone got half of all the venture capital in the entire country. So when the people who voted for President Trump said they felt left out and left behind, it's because they were left out and left behind. If we're only backing the entrepreneurs on the coast, not the entrepreneurs in the middle of the country, we're not creating jobs in the middle of the country, and that's a stupid thing as a nation to be doing. We have to fix that. Hopefully President Trump will take the lead.
Now, I know earlier on in the campaign you were supporting Hillary Clinton. In a September 2016 editorial you wrote in the Washington Post, you did take the big picture view of the election. I get why Trump has been a potent political force. I'm well aware that millions of people are angry about their prospects, fearful that the forces of globalization and digitization have left them behind. I also recognize many are frustrated by politics and feel we need an outsider to shake things up, but I don't think Trump is the answer for those people or for the country. Do you still subscribe to that?
Well, I had 2 big concerns there. One was some of the rhetoric around immigration, which I thought was unhelpful. I still believe that to be the case. Hopefully the policies around immigration, including things like the startup visa, will be different. And the second was there was a lack of specificity on his policy around innovation, entrepreneurship, and some of the things I talk about in the book, and a new chapter around called Project Restart. I wish he had talked about more of those issues. How do we remain the most innovative entrepreneurial nation in the world? So that he is president now. He's assembling a strong team. It seems like it's settling out now in terms of kind of where some of the priorities are going to be. Hopefully one of their key priorities.
Are you concerned by that he does seem to reverse a lot of positions?
Well, I think in the campaign the positions were a little unclear, and I think he was trying to give himself flexibility once he became president to move in different directions.
But
now he has that
reversed himself on China, reversed himself on Russia. Might be pushing back himself on tax cuts?
Well, and I'd say there's always 2 sides to that. One is the downside of sort of a flip-flopper. The upside is maybe he's listening to people, and having gone through the campaign, there's some things that are said in campaigns that are different when campaigning is different than governing. Hopefully he's listening to people, and he'll have the right policies going forward, including on innovation and entrepreneurship.